And once again, welcome back to Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. It's an evening with Robert Plant. We head back to the telephone to Louisville, Kentucky right now. This is Robert. He's going to talk to Robert, a listener of 96 QFM. Good evening.
Hi. How you doing, Robert?
I'm fine. How are you, Robert?
Pretty good. Okay, I have a question for you. Okay, I heard Jimmy Page has been working on a new album, and I was wondering if you heard, like, an advanced cassette or anything. And if you have, I'd like your opinion of it.
Well, I've got an advanced cassette because I'm on the record too. It's great. I mean, he's using three singers. He's using Chris Farlow, who is a very highly respected British singer who did some work on the Rolling Stones record label in the 60s. He's using a guy called John Miles, who's just currently come off the Tina Turner tour. And he's using me. And it's great. It's a really exciting record.
I look forward to it.
In fact, he was playing with me 2 nights ago, and in fact last night, and we were playing away on stage, and I kind of sort of danced over to him and whispered in his ear and asked him if he got a permanent singer, or was he looking for anybody in particular. Yeah, but his new record comes out on Geffen Records in about about 4 or 5 weeks' time, and he's touring from what he said to me in September.
Now, just one night that Jimmy appeared on stage with you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know.
I'm just curious.
There was a lot of good things on the TV the nights before that. But yeah, he came along and he played, and everybody started crying and going wah, and yeah, it was great.
Is there a chance that might happen in North America?
What, that everybody starts crying?
No, that Jimmy might go on stage with you sometime.
Oh, I don't think so. No, because Jimmy, he's very preoccupied with rehearsals and stuff like that, and thinking about Kingdom Come. So he really has got he's got a lot to do, you know, without kind of following me around. But he'll be yeah. I mean, I'll see him along the way. He's got some phone numbers I need anyway.
Robert, thanks for the call. By the way, Robert is listening to 96 QMF there in Louisville. And sorry about transposing the call letters there. Robert, thanks. I appreciate it. Let's move on now and talk to Beth in Dayton, Ohio, listening to 105 WTUE. Beth, you're on with Robert Plant.
Hi. Hello?
Hi, Beth.
Hi. Good to talk with you. My questions are mainly centered around that I can't imagine success as yours. At the same time, I can. I've met with members of Humble Pie, and what was neat was they're just people that had faith in their abilities. With your new album and Contentment, it's a great time to ask, reflecting on the 60s, 70s, and 80s. By the way, I'm a commercial artist. What advice would you give to artists? And please elaborate.
What, you mean just because I've been around a while?
Well, in general, times are very different.
The times are very different, kind of in a mass awareness of I guess, just mass awareness generally. I think the 60s were a very critical time when the whole of the kind of social order was called into question, and really the general running of especially the United States was called into question, and it was a remarkable and very important time to be anywhere at all. And in Europe too, there were a lot of demands put on the social order, and several very important changes made. I'm really pleased that I was around then. I think the music was almost a kind of backcloth to everything that was going on. It it helped to weave a tapestry of emotion and sentiment, which I think went through into the 70s and became initially very interesting, and then after a while it seemed to go up its own backside, right up its own butt, because everything kind of went on and on and on, and it was actually, as to some degree, kind of a bit like Spinal Tap, you know, where what started off as being fresh and inquisitive and soul-searching and mind-searching went up its own butt. Maybe that wasn't right across the board, but I mean, it did kind of go a bit off the beam. And now I think in the 80s it's got very stereotyped, as you know how I feel about that. Advice, I would just say that the best thing that you can do, I used to go to concerts where the first thing that you ever did when you got into the concert or when the concert began was everybody kind of shook hands or smiled at the person next to them and broke down some of the inhibitions and stuff like that. And I like to play and I like to smile and I like to enjoy myself. And I think the only advice I can offer on such a broad scale on a radio program is to kind of lighten up a little bit, you know, and just smile a little bit. And it would be wonderful if everybody walked down the street and just started smiling at each other. Nobody'd know what on earth was going on.
Isn't that
I know it sounds, it's like, yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't really start getting prophetic about what to do about social order and stuff like that, but I guess it would be nice to kind of break some of the barriers or to continue to remove some of the general social suspicions and stuff like that. It would be nice just to be happy and friendly together. And that's what I try and do with as many people who let me join in.
Beth, thank you for your call, and you call us again sometime, and good luck with your artwork. If you just tuned in, Robert is in the Rockline studio at Capital Radio in London. I'm in our Hollywood Rockline studio. We have a call now from Robert in Huntington Beach, California, listening to 95.5 KLOS. Hi, Robert.
Hello, how are you doing, Mr. Plant?
Fine, thank you. How are you? Is it remarkable? This program is full of Roberts.
Yeah.
One right after another. Right?
Would you say hello to Tammy for me?
Tammy. Oh, Tammy. Yeah, no relation to Debbie Reynolds.
I first of all wanted to tell you that David Copydale of Whitesnake is incomparable to you. You are the rock legend, and he's a wimp.
Oh, please don't. He's a really nice guy, listen. He really thought he got it right, and he's a lovely man, and I really do think the world of him, and I think that we should bury the hatchet. And I'd like to say publicly on United States mass radio that, David, I think you're a wonderful guy, and I think the highlights are great. And, yeah, but anyway, Robert, carry on. Let's talk men to men.
I believe you. I was wondering why, after downplaying it so much and so often, what made you decide to add Zeppelin songs to your live show?
Well, again, talking to Jimmy, you know, I think the thing is that I'd made so much of a mountain out of not doing them and not singing them, and I had actually written the melodies, you know, the vocal refrains, if you like, and the lyrics and stuff like that. And I sing them in the car, I sing them in the bath, you know, I sing them to everybody, but I don't sing them on stage. So it seemed to be the most natural thing to do. And, I mean, at rehearsals I started doing them, and when I was talking to Jimmy yesterday, he said that his band, because they didn't play him either, they were getting him to do them. And it's like a request show. And you end up with all these different bands that people are playing with. I mean, John Paul Jones has been doing it with The Mission non-stop. Because most of The Mission stuff sounds like Led Zeppelin 3. You know, and it's like when the bass player says, what about so-and-so? Or when Jason Bonham shouts across to Page, good times, bad times, then he said, I fumble into it, and then I remember what it is, and it's great. So I guess really it's just that I never really wanted to do it before because the atmosphere was different then. Now it feels quite appropriate, and I don't have any problem doing it. And Paige doesn't have any problem doing it either.
Robert, thank you.
Different time.
Sorry to interrupt you there. We have a little satellite delay we're having to work with here. Robert, thank you for your call. One of the songs that Robert Plant has been doing in concert, a Led Zeppelin song, is from album number 4, Misty Mountain Hop, on Rockline.
People spirits go now. Over the hills where spirits
Led Zeppelin with Robert Plant from album number 4 on Rockline. We'll return with our Evening with Robert Plant momentarily. Call us toll-free from anywhere in North America. Let's hear from you. 1-800-344-ROCK. And once again, welcome back to Rockline. It's an Evening with Robert Plant. I'm Bob Coburn. Let me wrap up the concert dates that I have for Robert so far. These are all in the month of June. The 6th, New Orleans. The 7th, Houston. Dallas on the 8th. Followed by dates in El Paso on the 10th. Phoenix on the 11th. Costa Mesa, California the 13th. L.A. the 14th at the Forum. And then Robert will be in Sacramento the 16th. San Francisco the 17th. A concert in Seattle the 19th. Portland on the 20th. And Vancouver, British Columbia the 21st. Then a little time off and the tour will resume July 2nd. I don't have those dates. Keep tuned to your local Rockline affiliate. We're going to go to Hamilton, Ontario now. We're going to talk with Joe, a listener of CKOC. Joe, you're on with Robert Plant.
Good morning, Robert. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you? I keep on saying I'm fine. I'm not fine at all. I'm having a terrible time. The coffee's cold, the donuts are stale, and my eye hurts. But apart from that, I'm all right.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for not becoming an accountant. And my question is, on your Shaken and Stirred album, a few of the songs had pretty abstract titles, such as Hip to Who, Callaloo, Callaloo, and Dodo Doo-Doo. Is there any story behind the names of those three songs in particular?
Yeah, well, Callaloo, Callaloo, somebody asked me what it was, and I said, if I'm fortunate enough to go down to the Caribbean, I always remember this beautiful, dark, sort of olive-skinned woman with green eyes standing on the jetty as the boat pulled away, looking sheepishly after me as if I would never come back again. And all the journalists went, yeah, wow, man, wow. But basically, callaloo is a vegetable, and it's the green leaf on the top of the vegetable that they make soup out of. So it's basically vegetable soup, callaloo, callaloo. Doo-doo a dodo. A dodo is a tablet that you take for asthma. It contains ephedrine, and if you have too many, you get a little spaced out. And a friend of mine was always doing a dodoing, whizzing around and saying things very quickly. So I didn't have very much to do with him because it wasn't good, nice, white, clean, and neat stuff. And Hip to Who was, I guess, kind of me having a kind of slate at the, just taking the piss out of the kind of pop trend, you know. Is this really hip? Is it Bronski beat, you know? Is it this or is it that, or is it hip to who? Who really cares? But you're right, they do get, these titles are really silly. Fortunately, I've learnt the error of my ways now, and every song that I sing has a title in it at least 35 times.
Joe, thanks for the call. Call us again sometime. It's Amy's turn in Cheshire, Connecticut, listening to 106 HCN in Hartford. Amy, you're on the show.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Robert.
Hello.
How are you? Again.
Hi again, yeah.
Before I ask my question, I'd really like to thank Rockline for the chance to talk to you. But my question is, before starting your UK tour, did you wonder if you had to work harder to win over their attention rather than in the United States, knowing how you had a big impact over here?
Well, you know, I haven't worked a great deal in Britain. The music, the kind of concentration on different musical trends it's very kind of splintered in Britain. You get Robin Hitchcock has got a following, the Swans have got a following. You've got so many different, remarkably different trains of thought and trains of music that I didn't wonder how I was going to have to work harder or not, but I wondered where I was going to have to work. And basically, I wanted to go right back into universities and start working on a kind of campus level. And that's basically a lot of the time what I've done on this British tour. In fact, yesterday was 5 months since my very first gig, which I did at a kind of seaside resort in December. A really windy, cold night, and I was playing in real small places to get some feel back again and to create a kind of a platform for what I'm doing now. Because what I'm playing now, the way I'm playing, the way I'm singing, and the way I'm actually working the whole thing is a lot different to how I've done it before for quite a long time. So I wanted to kind of go in through the back door. I didn't wonder whether it was going to be difficult or whether it was going to be different. I just thought that I ought to sort of approach it from a different angle.
Amy, there you go. Thank you for your call. We're going to play a song right now from Now and Zen by Robert Plant. This song's a lot of fun. It's White, Clean, and Neat on Rockline.
That blues away. My take that his hand for hands. So I sip the wine, touch the boy inside the man. Beneath the skirts between the clean white sheets, it's such a long, long way from the street. Beneath the skirts between the clean white sheets, it's such a long, long way from the street. No, the silly riddles promise someone out there always will be. White, clean, and neat. There's no one better qualified to cry wild. Not quite like your Johnny Ray.
Sugar, sugar, white, clean, and neat. Sugar, sugar, white, clean, and neat.
Beneath the skirts between the clean white sheets, it's such a long, long way from the street. Beneath the skirts between the clean white sheets, it's such a long, long way. Such a long, long way. It's such a long way from the street.
If you like the blues, I think we can. Home life with wife and children and community life centered around the church are the things on which Pat bases his still a scout troop in Denver. When teenagers find an idol, they usually emulate what they know of his habits.
Bring them home, Daddy.
It's such a long way, it's such a long way, it's such a long, long way on the street. Beneath the skirts between the clean white sheets, it's such a long, long way, it's such a long, long way, it's such a long way on the street.
White, Clean, and Neat by Robert Plant from Now and Zen. We'll return with Robert in just one moment. Your number to call is toll-free, 1-800-344-ROCK. Rockline resumes in just 1 second on the Global Satellite Network.
A sunny day and a chance to play. We can have a party. Till I bring up 2 days bucks for you. We can have a party. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Play our music all day. You know it, but man, we love this plan. So let's all have a party.
Hey, here's to you. Beechwood age with a clean, crisp taste that make Budweiser the king of beers.
Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Play our music all day. Come on out if you wanna shout. This bug's for you.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Mike, for another season of catching footballs, your team is offering you a yacht dealership, a cashmere jersey, and $12 million. And you're still not signing?
Yeah, that's right, Mel.
What more could you want?
Something chocolatey but crispy.
What?
Something chocolatey but crispy.
Oh, you want a Kit Kat?
Yeah, Kit Kat. That's what I want.
Well, hey, I've got a spare Kit Kat right here. Catch.
Oops. I lost it in the lights.
Smooth milk chocolate over crispy wafers. Kit Kat. That's what you want.
Excuse me, did you just leave your bathroom without doing a certain something?
No, I didn't. But thanks so much for barging into my home and asking.
Maybe something that begins with L and fights bad breath by killing plaque and other germs that cause it?
Listerine. Listerine antiseptic.
That's right.
How could I forget something like that? How could I? Oh, it's no excuse, but I have been under a lot of stress lately, and the light was bouncing off the fixtures right in my eyes.
Listerine works hard to fight bad breath, so get back in the bathroom and do it.
Rockline. I felt like I was sitting on the bottom rung of a ladder, feeling sorry for myself, and out of nowhere, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, there's a way up."
That's military intelligence specialist Victoria No.
It all started when I started thinking about my future. I didn't want to just take the first job that came along. I wanted a career. But there was just no way I could pay for college. Then I talked to an Army recruiter. I told him the only way I'd join the Army was if I get a valuable skill and money for college. He told me if I qualified, he could guarantee it, in writing, and he did. Now I'm an Army translator, and that translates into money for college.
The Army offers programs that can help you accumulate over $25,000 for college. If you want to learn more, talk to your local Army recruiter.
I'll tell you one reason I joined the Army, to get money for college. But I'm also getting a lot of self-respect.
Find your future in the Army.
Paid for by the U.S. Army.
Hi, I'm Bob Coburn. Rockline continues now on WRDU 106.
Here we go. Welcome back to Rockline. It's our evening with Robert Plant. Robert located in London. I'm in our Los Angeles Rockline studio. Let's talk to Michael in New Bedford, Massachusetts, listening to WAAF Boston. Hi, Michael.
How you doing?
Michael.
How you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
Very good. Robert Plant, I don't believe I'm talking to him. The legend.
Neither do I.
I got a quick question for you. Can you shed some light on the friction between you and your comrade of 11 years, John Paul Jones?
Oh, there's no friction. No, nothing at all. It's just, why do people take things so seriously and literally? He's a very good friend, nice guy, really warm man. Nothing to say, really. I mean, I shall no doubt be playing with him within the next 4 or 5 weeks, and no friction. Everything's fine. He's a lovely man, and it's his turn to make the coffee.
Glad Rockline to set the record straight for you there, Michael. Thanks for calling. Let's let Angie have her turn. She's in Washington, D.C. listening.
Wait a minute. Rockline sounds like some kind of universal doctor. Rockline has now solved the problem between David Coverdale, Whitesnake, Kingdom Come, John Paul Jones, and the next caller, please. Thank you all.
It's Angie is the next caller in Washington, D.C., listening to 98 Rock in Baltimore. Angie, you're on with Robert Plant.
I'd like to say hi. How's it going? You say you approach your music with spontaneity and an attitude of lightheartedness. But what about the perfectionist side in you? Does it ever create any production problems or maybe a feeling of not quite getting it right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm impossible to live with during the making of a record because I want to try and get it right. I'm impossible to live with during the writing of the record because I haven't written the world's most remarkable song. And I'm impossible to live with when I'm touring with a record because I'm impossible. So it is kind of difficult, and I never ever kind of get it right. But I have a lot of fun getting it wrong.
Angie, there you go. Thanks for calling tonight, and thanks for listening and calling to everyone this evening. Next week, it's Ice House, and coming soon, Robbie Robertson, Van Halen, Bruce Hornsby, Jethro Tull, as we help them celebrate their 20th anniversary, Leonard Skinner, and much more. Thanks to Mike Kelly for his help tonight. Yeah, they're going to come back again. And also to Judy LeBeau of Atlantic Records, and also Mitchell Johnson, Steve Grocott, Clyde Martindale, and the staff at the Rockline studio at Capitol Radio in London. By the way, tonight marks an ending and a beginning at Rockline. It's the end of our general manager, Rachel Perkoff's 6 years with Rockline, and the beginning of her venture into a private business. And she's been a good friend and a whole lot more, and we wish her the best, and you'll be missed here, Rachel. Thanks. Thank you, Robert Plant. It's been enjoyable, and I'll look for you coming over in concert here, and I'll check in with you when you come to Southern California.
Please do that. It's been great to talk to you again, and I look forward to seeing you backstage. Same old treatment, you know. Just, don't forget to bring your mask and your whips.
Robert, thanks for being on. I'll talk to you soon. I'm BC, and I'll be seeing you in a week. Bye.
You've been listening to Rockline, brought to you in part by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Rockline is engineered by Jimmy Height, Conrad Pignon, Jim Pettyjohn, and Steve Dumais. Mixed on Yamaha professional sound equipment. Special production by Jimmy Rash and R.J. Lane. Technical direction by Mike Correa. Assistant to the producer is Sharon Sanchez. Our thanks to C.W. West and Kevin Stevens for their special help. Rockline is produced by Mark Felsot. Executive producer Howard Gilman. Rockline is a presentation of the Global Satellite Network for distribution in the United States by the ABC Rock Radio Network.
That's Rockline for this morning on WRDU 106, Wilson, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. You know you only get that here. Next week, what do we got coming up? Ice House. It's going to be nice. Remember this number, though, 800-344-ROCK, and that'll get you through to talk to Ice House. Morning, I'm Tim Frank. We had a call a couple of minutes ago for some Def Leppard, so let's do that.
Step inside, walk this way, you and me, babe. Hey, hey! Living like a lover with a red iPhone. Looking like a tramp, like a video bam. Demolition woman, can I be your man? Dancing in the dancing in the day. Television dominated the whole night. Sometimes, anytime, sugar me sweet. Little Miss Lisa said, sugar me, yeah. satisfaction. No satisfaction.
Turn my back to the room, catch my breath before I start off again. Building on without a moment to spend, to pass the evening with a drink and a friend. I let my skin get too thin. I'd like to pause, no matter what I pretend. Like some pilgrim who loves to transcend, learns to live as if each step was a given. Not looking back, but I want to look around me now. Some more of the people and the places that surround me now. Time stands still. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Make each sensation a little bit stronger. Experience slips away. Experience slips away. Time stands still. I turn my face to the sun, close my eyes, let my defenses down. Always wounds that I can't get around. I let my past go too fast, no time to pause. If I could slow it all down, like some captain, the ship runs aground. I could wait until the tide comes around. I'm not looking back, but I want to look around me now. Some more of the people and the places that surround me now. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Make each sensation a little bit stronger. Make each